The Golden State Warriors have now missed the playoffs 2 years in a row, and it's raising some concerns with the team. With Klay Thompson returning next season, hopes are still high, but there's plenty of holes on this roster that need to be filled. It's a big off-season coming up for the Warriors, and it may be one that defines their chances of title contention next season in 2022. With many fans unsure about what the next move is for Golden State, I'm going to try clear up some queries today and explain to you what I believe is the ideal off-season for the Golden State Warriors and how they can leap back into title contention in 2022. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. I'm trying to reach 18,000 subscribers, so all support would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that being said, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. Firstly, let's talk about some of the problems that Golden State has with their roster, and then we can get into what they do to fix those issues. The biggest thing Golden State should try to do is acquire some more depth, particularly on the wings and point guard spots, because that's a thing that they lacked a lot during last season. As I said, Golden State's depth for those two positions is quite weak. At the point guard spot, they really only have Curry and Poole as the two serviceable players, and at the wing position, they're likely losing Kelly Oubre in free agency, as his ego is too big for the team and he won't take a lesser role to compete for a title. So with him gone, the Warriors will need to search for somewhat of a replacement. If those two areas can be fixed, ensuring the majority of the roster remains intact, Golden State can set themselves up greatly for a chance at the championship next season. Just before we get into the actual moves though, I just want to briefly go over the players on the Warriors roster from this past season that I believe they should keep, as they're extremely valuable to this team in my opinion. The obvious three are Steph, Klay and Draymond. They're what this team is built around. They've led this team to multiple finals appearances, so these guys will no doubt remain on the roster moving into 2022. Another player I'd love to see remain in Golden State for next year is Andrew Wiggins. He's developed superbly in Golden State's system the past year and is starting to make fans reconsider who won that Timberwolves-Warriors trade back at the deadline in 2020. Wiggins always had potential to be great defensively with his 7-foot wingspan and frame, but it wasn't until this past season where he really shone on that end of the floor. Wiggins' role on the Warriors has been perfect for him also, especially with no Klay Thompson around. Being utilized as the secondary scoring option behind Curry was great for him, and also being the leader of the second unit offensively has allowed him to build his confidence to a point where, if he's more consistent, he could be considered one of the better scorers in the game. Wiggins' defensive value for Golden State is unmatched, and when he's at his best offensively, he's an all-star caliber talent. So for me, he's a must-keep for Golden State. Another player I'd like to see remain at Golden State is Jordan Poole. The Warriors have started utilizing Poole far better this past season, and after his stint in the G League, his confidence skyrocketed. So he's finished 2021 playing some of his best basketball to date. Though Poole's numbers on the surface aren't great, 12 points per game on below average efficiency, if you look closer, you'll realize in the home stretch of the season, he was in unbelievable form. In his final 9 games of the season, Jordan Poole averaged 18 points and shot 49% from the field, and there was a period of 4 games or so where Poole was averaging nearly 25 points per game. The majority of those games occurring with Steph on the sideline. With increased trust in Jordan, he's become a legitimate 6-man star for the team and is a top-tier backup point guard for them moving forward. He's only played 2 seasons, so his potential is through the roof, so I'm glad Golden State didn't give up on him so quickly. He's an important part of their future and should remain on the team for years to come. Finally, some other key role players Golden State should keep are Kevon Looney, Eric Pascal, Damian Lee, and Juan Toscano Anderson. All are solid contributors to the team and are hard-working players, especially JTA. He had a mini breakout for the Warriors last season and has surely earned himself a guaranteed contract. It's crazy he was playing on a non-guaranteed last season, considering just how impactful he was for Golden State. Anyway, with that all being said, let's now talk about some trades, free agency signings, and draft day selections the Golden State Warriors should consider this offseason to bolster this roster into title contention. One trade rumor that's been flying around lately has been the idea that the Warriors are looking to trade James Wiseman and their 7th pick in the upcoming draft for Pascal Siakam from the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, this does somewhat help with their goal of upgrading wing depth, but personally, I don't think it's the right move. When healthy, Wiseman was playing really well for the Warriors and played the role they needed him to really well. Obviously, he's not a perfect player and his defense was average at best, but he's still a guy I wouldn't just trade away. And again, while Siakam is a fantastic player and would bolster the wing depth of Golden State, I just don't think he's the right fit. He'd almost certainly be coming off the bench, and with Klay entering back into the lineup, I just don't know where he sits with the team. Wiggins kind of has the role he'd play, a third option scorer who can also contribute defensively. The fit alongside Draymond Green wouldn't be fantastic either, and unless the team goes all in on small ball, it's not really an ideal scenario. It doesn't look bad on paper, but in the long-term scheme of things, I don't think this is the right trade for Golden State. However, a better trade idea for Golden State involving Wiseman and the 7th pick is a trade for Chris Boucher from the Raptors. I think considering the state of Toronto, this deal is probably less likely to happen, especially after Boucher's breakout season for Toronto in the absence of a top-tier big man. But if the Warriors are able to convince Toronto into a deal, I think this is a perfect option for them. Though Boucher isn't typically a wing, I think he could play the power forward position well or interchange in and out of the 4 and 5 spots with Draymond Green. His athleticism and defense will be a great addition to this Warriors lineup, and I think the 7th pick in Wiseman would almost certainly get the deal done. It'd be a shame to see Wiseman go, of course, because as I've mentioned, his upside is sky high, but Boucher fits the timeline of Golden State far better and would be a legitimate contributor for them right away, whereas Wiseman still has some development to do, which is not exactly perfect for a team trying to win a title. Let me know in the comments below if you have any trade ideas for Golden State that could improve their depth. That's the best I could come up with, but again, be sure to let me know all your thoughts down below. Moving on to free agency, Golden State should be realistically looking to target a backup point guard, because as I've said, Curry and Jordan Poole is really all they've got right now. I think a great guy to look at is Austin Rivers. Rivers is probably almost a guarantee to return to Denver at this point, but if the right amount of money is thrown his way, the Warriors could lure him to the Bay Area. Rivers is a fantastic backup guard. As a Rockets fan, I certainly know, and multiple times this season, both on the Knicks and in Denver, he stepped up big time down the stretch of a game with his shooting and off the dribble, playmaking and scoring ability. He is a genuine talent when it comes to offensive creation, and he'd add a lot of depth to this Warriors team. However, I do understand it's unlikely that Golden State picks him up, so another option I have for the Warriors is Langston Galloway. Galloway will be a cheap addition, but a valuable role player for the Warriors. Golden State can probably lure him away from Phoenix with some more minutes promised, and in that time, expect him to be a guy who will knock down shots consistently for Golden State from range. Realistically though, Golden State should be trying to find a guy who can sort of play a Sean Livingston style role. I think Jordan Poole is very capable of that, but adding a guy like Rivers or Galloway into the mix as well would certainly assist the Warriors and Curry in that area, and make them a legitimate side in the race for the championship next season. Finally, looking towards the draft, I'm going to assume that the Warriors have traded their 7th pick here, so that just leaves them with number 14. Keon Johnson would be ideal, but he's unlikely to fall that far, so I'm thinking a player like Zaire Williams, Moses Moody, etc. Those guys add depth to the wing positions and could be instant contributors. Zaire Williams is honestly the best option off the top of my head, but 14 is a long way down in the draft, so who knows who will be available then. Again though, Williams, with his great athleticism and fantastic potential, both offensively and defensively, as a wing, screams to me that he's a good fit on Golden State, so he'd be their best pickup, in my opinion, looking at the draft right now. So in summary, this is what I believe the Golden State Warriors should do this offseason. Keeping guys like Poole, Wiggins, and Eric Pascal is a must. Same goes with other role players like Kevon Looney and Juan Toscano Anderson. With Klay Thompson coming back, the Warriors starting lineup is looking pretty elite already. They just need the finishing touches to polish off their depth and solidify themselves, at least on paper, as a top tier contender for next season. They can do that by moving the 7th pick and James Wiseman, two assets that don't exactly fit the timeline of the team currently, for a more ready player like Chris Boucher. Bolstering the point guard position is important too, and since cap space is lacking right now for the team, signing a cheap free agent like Langston Galloway or Austin Rivers, if possible, would be ideal. If those few things happen, the Warriors once again look very scary, and assuming the team is healthy throughout next season, which nowadays is sadly not a guarantee, we could be looking at a team with serious championship aspirations. The climb back to the top will not be easy for Golden State. There's no doubt they'll continue to face adversity, but if they follow this plan that I've set out, at least to some degree, I personally feel like they'll be setting themselves in the right direction on the path back to championship glory. We'll see what happens from here, but that, in my opinion, is what the Golden State Warriors should do next. And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? What should the Warriors do next to you this offseason to upgrade their roster? What trades do you think they should make? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.